What's good, everybody? We are back. It is your boy Gerard, your girl Gabby, episode 83 of the Kicks and Shit Show.
That was a nice one.
Yeah, quick
Short,
to the point, you
crisp.
know.
I like it.
Yep. So, Gabs, where in the world are you? Oh, wait, I know. East Coast. You know how I know? You're wearing a hat. All right. If you were in Las Vegas or on the West Coast where it's probably warmer than it is here, I doubt you'd be rocking the wool hat. You got the wool on right now. It's a little chilly out here in these streets.
I mean, you never know, though. I feel like LA is all about that hipster vibe. Like, I watch...
But you're not a hipster, though.
No, absolutely not. I mean, no, thank you. No, respectfully. But I watch old reruns of The Challenge, and I love when they're, like, working out in, like, Cartagena in tank tops and shorts and beanies. And I'm like, when is that a vibe? Like, my head gets real sweaty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're sweating. Why are you putting a wool hat on to sweat? Like, that's going to make it worse.
Metabolism, fam. Like, no, thank you.
Well, welcome back to the East Coast. We're happy to have you. You are currently in the process of getting ready to get your East Coast domicile set up. That's exciting.
I like that you use the word domicile. I mean, can you tell the level of stress that I'm feeling right now through the screen? Because I feel like I'm projecting an energy that, I'm sorry, y'all, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, but your girl is stressing out.
Well, you are stressing out because you have this need to make everything so perfect right away. And it's like, yo, homie, like, it'll be all right. Like, give it some time to get lived in. Like, it may look cray the first month, but it'll look better in month 2, even better in month 3. Like, just let it evolve how it evolves.
I mean, I don't think perfect, but I am a little bit of somebody who likes to be in control.
Yes.
Shocking to nobody in this conversation. And I think, it's interesting renting, right? It's like, how much do you want to put into a place that you're not going to be at forever? So I'm like trying to budget things. Like maybe I'm going to get my bed frame on Groupon. I don't know. Let's get real wild out there.
Wow. I can't believe the last time I heard the term or the word Groupon. It's been a minute.
I know, but I mean, and here's the thing with moving, right? Even shitty furniture is really fucking expensive.
That's how they do in these streets.
I could drop like a band or two on just some dressers from IKEA. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
To IKEA, like that's the move that I'm gonna go. I think it's really clean lines. But like even Target, like that's just not cheap anymore.
I mean, a bed's gonna cost you like $1,700, $2,000. Like, I mean, you know what I mean?
My friend. I think this might be another side hustle opportunity where I can tell me what you're looking for and I'll find it for a third of the price. It's going to be like, I'll bring the Jew crew in to redo your apartment. I won't call it Jew crew.
Oh, shout out to Gabby. Shout out to Gabby Rosendahl. Keeping stereotypes alive one day at a time. I'm looking at your hat right now and it's this kind of like yellowish color. And it reminds me of some images we saw earlier this week of a collaboration we've, not just us two, but we, the collective people who are into this kind of thing, have been waiting on. And it is the Adidas Fear of God collaboration. And yeah, you see that? There was...
homage.
You see, this is why we're connected. So there was that installation out in Shanghai last week, and we saw a Fear of God athletic hoodie. We were like, "What's this?" But it's in Shanghai. What about the U.S. Right? Everybody started going crazy on Instagram, and then Jerry Lorenzo actually put out on Instagram that a couple images. Right, so it was a hoodie, a crew neck, shorts, I believe, or pants. And it looks great, yellow with the blue Adidas, and the Adidas logo is the original Adidas basketball logo that was used in 1971, which is very cool. So I think people are excited about this and looking forward to. Now I know that won't be all that's in the collection, I imagine, but those are probably the first pieces they're going to let out, and they're going to sell out. Of course, people are going to go crazy, but I'm excited for this.
I am as well, and I think what I'm hoping to see from this collection and what I'm already starting to see is a nod to the essentials that we all love. Like, poor TJ, I'm sure, has been blowing up. I think that people think that she is tapped in behind the scenes on what's going on with Team Jerry over at Adidas. She and I had a conversation about this earlier this week. I'm hoping to see that those clean lines continue, but with an Adidas spin on it, already with the colorways and the nod, again, to like some of the vintage colors and patterns and styles with fonts and text. I think that's what I'm most excited to see, how it comes to life in a way that is different from the Fear of God essentials that we all know and love.
Yeah, no, I think that's a perfect point, and I think Jerry is going to tap into the Adidas basketball line, right? Those original shoes, and use a lot of those aesthetics that you mentioned, that really, why everybody fell in love with Adidas back in the day, right? And I think he'll marry the two, and of course put on his Jerry Lorenzo spin and style to it, right? To give it a flair all its own. But yeah, this is exciting. I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what this is going to look like and what the whole process is going to be for release. Is it going to be like, are we confirmed apping things? Are we? I mean, what's the whole vibe going to be on this whole process? And are pieces of merchandise like hoodies and stuff, are they going to be easier to get than potential shoes that come out? Or all the same can be difficult regardless?
I think all the same is going to be difficult regardless. And not that the Kith Knicks drop is by any means like this, but anytime anything Fear of God currently comes out, it's fend for yourself, get that Apple Pay login ready to go. I mean, you know me, if I ever get my hands on anything, I do that little double tap on the side of my iPhone and I order everything individually because I would rather have one thing versus all of it. Don't be greedy, folks. I do think it'll be interesting to see if confirmed app is a piece of it. I also, the one thing that hasn't really been teased at all and that I am most excited for, obviously, is the sneaker component to complete the fit. Because I really loved the way that Jerry played with structure when it came to his collab with Nike. It was different. It was a statement, right? Even when there were monochromatic styles for that Fear of God one, I really loved the architecture of that. So I think Adidas in general, Adidas basketball, Jason Maiden's been doing a great job with kind of taking over that branch, and just some of the new styles and colorways that have been coming out for their athletes really do kind of have some unique patterns and colorways. So I'm excited to see kind of the marriage of those two come in this first collab.
I love that you said that, because the next thing I was going to say was I'm looking forward to see which Adidas basketball player first pops on with
PJ Tucker.
Well, but on the actual floor, right? Like that Jerry either makes a shoe, not necessarily a signature, but they do a little quick crossover collab, and it's all right, I'm gonna make these just for Dame or whomever. Right? I'd be very curious to see what those look like, and because that's when we're talking about function, right? Because you got to be able to perform on the basketball court and have the right feel on the shoe, right, versus style. But with Jerry, it'll be both more than likely. So what would that look like, right? So that would be exciting if they do in fact do something like that. So yeah, folks, stay tuned.
Yeah, no, and I'm curious about I don't know if we were just wrapped there. I think we did.
No, we didn't.
Okay. Sorry about that. Clearly need more coffee today, guys. I'm ready to stay tuned with all of y'all. But I think when it comes to Adidas basketball, I'm curious to see, is it going to be one of the Adidas athletes currently that have their signature shoes rocking it, to your point, or is it just going to be someone that's a rogue player that's rocking it just to stun? I mean, I know I joke about PJ, and we know that he's a Nike and Jordan brand athlete, so that might not be the avenue, but you never know. He finds a way to have things first, have it on and off the court in unique ways. That I think, what is it? He had the Giannis shoe before Giannis even got it. That was a whole vibe last year.
It's going
to be special.
He'll show up in a pair of vintage KDs, and KD will be like, bro, how do you even have that? I only got 2 pairs of those. And it's he's that dude. Anyway, folks, stay tuned, because coming up next, we got a special guest for you in the world of, just call it digital creation. What's up, y'all? We are back. Gabby, we are not alone. We are joined by a digital content creator, sneakerhead, influential marketer, part-time photographer. This man wears many hats like so many of our guests. If y'all know, on Instagram, he goes by the name of Henrock. What's up, my guy? How are you? Thanks for being on the show.
What's going on, y'all? Pleasure to be here. Finally.
Yes, we are happy to have you. We were just talking about off air how so many people you connect with and meet offline, or online, I should say, right? But not in real life. It's man, we've never actually met in person, but you feel like you know people, right? So it's really cool when you can connect with folks because of shared mutual interest in whatever, right? And in this case, sneakers, fashion, all different kinds of things. So, Henrock, I kind of want to start there. When did you fall in love with sneakers?
From a young age, my love for sneakers stems from my love of sports. So, obviously seeing Jordan play, his swag was a little different than, a lot of other players. Obviously the shoe line is amazing. But yeah, that's where my love started. I had, other favorite shoe lines as well. Barclays, Pippins, even Grant Hills. Like the 90s was like the golden era for ball players and sneaker collections. Even football, Dion's line,
Yeah.
some hits too. So for sure, that's where my love of sneakers stems from sports.
You mentioned 90s, so I know you had to love those Air More Up tempos.
Oh, of course, with the big Air. Man, of course.
No, it's so crazy because that's everybody's connection, right? It's sport. It's like that is what draws you in. And for me, it's for someone who not only does this but covers sports from a media perspective. I think what draws us in is these athletes, right? They're mythic, they're godlike, right? It's like they inhabit Mount Olympus, and there are us lowly plebs below them that are like, wow, how can we do what you do, right? And you're like, well, you can't, because if we could, we would be there, right?
Right now with my own shoe line, if I could.
Right, we would have our own shoe line. We would be performing these mythical feats. So, as a kid, man, who were your favorite teams, players growing up? What was that journey like through sports?
So first thing was, of course, Michael Jordan. I mean, fell in love watching him. I used to live in Florida for a while, so the Magic, Shaq, and Penn duos. And some of the most fire jerseys in NBA history, the pinstripes, the blue with the star, like crazy. Allen Iverson, one of my favorite players growing up for sure. I was considered a big man, so they always try to put me in. Even though I had the size, I didn't have the height, but I'd be in my backyard practicing the crossover, begging my parents to let me get my hair braided and all of that. They were afraid I was going to get sleeved up, tagged. I didn't go that route. But AI definitely one of my favorite players growing up, and LeBron James. I mean, dude's truly amazing. I feel like even though he's talked about a lot, it's still somewhat underappreciated what he brings to the game on and off the court. He's been a great ambassador to the league for about 15 years plus. I feel like, after the 5-year mark, he really came into his own as one of the faces of the league. But, from jump, I feel like he exceeded expectations, and he's still holding it down. Like, people thought he was washed. He's, still leading the league and scored, one of the leaders in the league in scoring. So, yeah. Yeah,
it's so funny you mentioned Bron because in many ways, he was a child star, right? Like, on the cover of SI at, 14 or 15, right? Chosen one, all that stuff. So, there were a lot of expectations, right? And to you, as you said, Henrock, he exceeded all those expectations. Think about how difficult it is to be a child superstar and being like, you are the next whatever, and then to actually go out and live and prove it, right? That's damn near impossible, right? Because most people just... The weight of the expectations, not because somebody's weak or frail or whatever. Those things are crushing, man. That's a lot of expectations to put on somebody to be able to do that, right? And injuries and random bad luck and bad things happen that prevent you from doing those things, right? So for him to be able to exceed it, and I say this on this pod, on many of my other shows, wherever you think about basketball, whatever. I mean, for me, and I've been watching ball since '84, there are only 3 men in the history of basketball that can claim GOAT status. It's LeBron, it's Kareem, and it's Jordan. And that's it. Like, that's it. Nobody else is on that mountain in that category. No, Gabby, no. We're not. Don't even go there. Don't even go there.
You gotta have Bean as part of that. He's my birthday buddy, that mama
Listen,
mentality.
he could be your birthday buddy. He ain't that, okay?
I mean, and I will say, I have all this shit to talk about LeBron, and Henrock, I'm glad you said this too, right? That he does talk a lot, but then he does kind of back it up, right? Like that he is undervalued and underappreciated. And I feel like, you guys know I have strong opinions about Bron, but if you look at like who's done that since then, the people that have had that kind of like celeb status beforehand, right? Like look at Lonzo Ball. Like, this is also no disrespect in this, but Lonzo Ball and Zion, it's like those are some really big shoes to fill to be able to not only back it up but have that longevity. I think something I saw recently of like LeBron's stats are similar to what they were 10 years ago. Like, I don't even think I could walk as fast as I could walk, let alone like maintain some athletic stats. So it definitely is pretty impressive. We'll table the Kobe talk for another day.
Chill. We're not doing that on this pod.
Sports dedicated version of Kicks. And I'm saying we can delve into that entire conversation.
I'll bring you on the 7 Footers basketball podcast, and we'll discuss that.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, going through your Instagram feed, and there's like so many different kinds of photos out there. It looks like you were out in the streets in summer 2020 doing a lot of the protests. There's some great photos there. What is it about storytelling through pictures that appeals to you so much?
Just being able to capture the emotion in the moment. You've had him on your show as well, Ricky Shuvio, obviously, another great photographer. We've spoken about how sometimes pictures tell a better story than video, and he also shot some protests too, and we were talking about it and the importance of getting out there and documenting that whole thing. It just, you see the raw emotion as it's taking place, and I just love that. Sometimes, like I said, videos don't really do it justice. Sometimes you just got to go out there and just capture a good shot in action. A lot of those were candid. So what I'll do often is like I'll approach a scene. Obviously, they see I have a camera, but I don't start snapping right away. Just people know there's a guy with a camera around, but they're in the midst of a protest, and eventually just catch them into action, and they came out beautifully. It's a shame that I had to go out there and do that, or that the people had to be out there and protesting, but there is some beauty in that as well. So
that's interesting, because when you went out to shoot the protest, you went out with the explicit purposes of shooting the protest. But are you someone that walks around with your camera just in general, and then if something sparks you, the mood or whatever, you'll pull it out and start snapping?
Yeah. If I'm feeling inspired, I'll definitely just have it on me just in case. Sometimes you just feel just extra motivated, or you just think, you're in a super good mood. Sometimes I don't like to carry my equipment with me all the time because it's expensive, and God forbid anything happens, whatever. But some days it's just like, you just feel like, okay, I'm going to capture something, or you just want to get some shots up too, right? Like Tiger still practices his putt, Bron still practices his free throws. I'd like to see the percentage go up, but that's a whole other story. But, you just want to stay sharp and practice your craft too. So there's part of that, and just doing it for the love too. So yeah, sometimes, I have it on me, for sure.
I was going to say, how did that kind of start for you? Was it more of a hobby? Was it kind of like something that was really driving you to do as part of your career? Or what did that look like in the beginning?
It was, I fell into it by accident. Wasn't a plan. Like, I can't lie to people and say, like, I've always had an interest in photography. Now, like, we've had disposable cameras. We had fun with that, but I wasn't thinking about creating art. I was just thinking about capturing the moment. So what happened was, I used to work at a sneaker boutique, right, in Long Island, one of the best sneaker boutiques out there. It's called Sneaker Bistro. And we needed product shots. And this was before these things were like super elaborate. It was just like, we just need a picture of this and get it up. We added our own little flavor to it, but it wasn't these elaborate shoots that you see nowadays. And yeah, I was bad. I was trash. They were like thinking like, we don't even want you to take pictures. Yo, please give me another chance. Worked on it. Went to YouTube University, try to figure out the composition, lighting, things of that nature. And eventually I got better at it. And the shoots again, they got more elaborate down the line. They got better. And after a while, I was like, you know what? I've shot clothes and sneakers on people. Let me, capture portraits and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So moved on to that. There's a venue not too far by, and musicians would stop in. Had the pleasure of shooting acts like Rick Ross, Nas, Cameron, Mobb Deep, and now it's super early too. So I'm thinking like, oh man, I'm gonna be, this is it. Like I'm gonna make it. Obviously, it then doesn't go that way. You know what I'm saying? But still enjoying the journey.
That's the best part, right? I think so many people see Instagram and see what we do as creatives, and they're like, oh, what's this? What's that? And it looks so cool. And you're like, once you're in it, like we are, I always tell people, it's about the journey, man. Like it's not the destination. Like, yeah, getting to, interview KD is cool. Like don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be like, whatever, it's old hat. Like it's not. Like I'm grateful for those opportunities, but that's just part of the journey, man. Right? Like it's you have to find the joys. One of my podcasts co-hosts says, life is like a roller coaster, man. Lots of ups and downs. He was like, get off the roller coaster and get on the merry-go-round. Find the joys in the everyday, like, right? And because it's easy to get up for the highs, right? And get amped when like, yo, I'm about to go do Aspen, blah, 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 whatever. And it's like, yeah, of course you get amped for that. Like, who doesn't? But that you do too much of that, it's not going to keep you focused on the day to day, right? Like the merry-go-round.
Yep.
Focus too much on the highs, those lows they hit different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if you're not in the right, space mentally, it can affect you. And I'm no different. I've suffered through that as well. Like thinking like one day you're up here, you're shooting so and so, and then the next day it's just like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll do this, Sweet 16 or whatever. Like,
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very humbling, but like you said, it's an up and down thing. Falling in love with the process and falling in love with the journey over and over again.
100%. I think people always see what's on the other side of the lens, right? And not that process that goes into it. Like Gerard and I've said this before, IG is like a highlight reel, right? And you know that someone's good at what they do when it looks easy, right? Like you look at your page and everything just looks beautiful and easy. And like we're creative types, so we understand what goes behind that photo. Like Gerard wanted to get us into TikTok, and I was like, you know how much goes into that one dance for that one video? I was like, your girl over here has tiny feet, so start dancing doing the renegade? I don't think so. Nah.
Listen, man, 30-plus-year-olds, if you're not a dancer, and seeing this TikTok thing and all, it's you feel like, damn, it's a lot of, like you said, so much that goes into it. And I respect anybody who is able to put themselves out there and go for it. I mean, listen, some of it looks silly, but there's a lot of cool stuff going on there.
Yeah,
sure.
For sure. So, Hen, like, obviously as a kid, you loved Jordans and the 90s basketball sneakers. How has your sneaker, not just collection, but your appreciation for sneakers evolved from then to now?
Oh, man. So that's a great question. I don't think it's changed much. I think it hasn't really changed much. There's always something that I appreciate about a sneaker, whether it's just the story that's behind it, or just on a surface level, what it looks like and all of that. I don't think much has changed for me, honestly. I think just understanding the process more of how they come about, how to decide to release things and all of that. If anything, it's just grown, but it hasn't changed. You know what I'm saying? It's grown, but it's still the same. If that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, totally. Are you someone who every time a release comes out, no matter what it is, you're trying to get it, or are you at the stage where you're like, look, I only get stuff that I like that I'm gonna wear?
I mean, the sneaker game unfortunately has turned into what's that popular show on Netflix?
Squid
Squid
Game.
Game.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't watch it yet, but
It's worth it.
I between the memes, I feel like I've seen every episode. So, you know, unfortunately, it's not not as fun as it used to be. I still have fun with it. I mean, you can never take my joy when it comes to sneakers, but it's a little harder. I don't feel like I need every release now. I've amassed a lot of sneakers over the years. Before, you should just be like, yo, I need to have the hottest, the newest, the hottest. Now it's more like laser focus. It's like I found my look as I've gotten older. Of course, I still experiment somewhat, but I know what I like at this point. Whereas when you're younger, it's just like you go through so many changes and phases. Sometimes I look back and like, even though I'll be like, okay, you got a fit off, but damn, that was you were really out there. I'm still out there now, but I feel like it's a little more tamed, a little, more focused, whatever. But yeah.
I like that. I mean, I had a pair of pink snake print pants back in the day, so I feel you on that one with the different fits. Yeah.
Look at it, he's like, wait, say what?
Oh yeah, it was a different vibe. I would show up to my prep school looking like Beyonce with like a sequin skirt during the daytime. My mom's like, "You're 16. Where do you think you're going?" Everyone else is in khakis. Oh yeah, it was a whole different time. So I appreciate that.
Pics or it didn't happen?
I think that all pics of the pink snake print pants have been burned, but there might be some purple satin fits in there somewhere that I could dig up.
You got to see those throwback fits.
And you think my feet look tiny in sneakers? Put me in a pair of heels, and I look like I'm just standing on stilts at that point.
Oh, Gabby, I can't even. I'm not even messing with you right now. You're on something else. What's one thing you'd love to see change about the sneaker industry right now? That's like kind of got you to where you're like, we don't need to be doing this, man. Let's fix this.
Weird shit like taking your sneaker and eating cereal out of it. It's the weirdest flex. I seen this other kid use his sneakers like a windshield wiper, and I love these media outlets, but like, why are we even giving these people shine? Like, I understand it gets the numbers going and people talking and stuff like that, but just encouraging more. Can we curse on here?
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna kick some shit show, my friend.
And just encouraging just complete and utter fuckery and chaos, and that just needs to go. The beauty and the gift and the curse with Instagram too, right? Where it just seems to, people just replicate whatever seems to work, as opposed to, when can sound like the old man on his front porch, but like when we were all growing up, it was just more about individuality, right? Like, Gerard got the Barclays, so I'm gonna get the Pippins, or Gabby got the Feli, so let me get the Jordans, or the phones, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? We all wanted to just do something different, where now it's just like the uniform seems to be like, a baggy pant, a vintage shirt, or a racing shirt, and Jordan 1s or Dunks. Like, and that's no disrespect to anybody out there. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. That's fine. But I would like to see a little bit more individuality when it comes to fits in general, and sneakers, of course.
No, you're so right about that. I just, Gabby, I don't know if I was telling you this, but you remember when that milk crate thing was like popular on, and I literally said to somebody, because we were talking about building a show that we were doing, and I was like, yo, the reason we can't get popular is because of this shit. Milk crates and this other dumb shit. Because once things like that take off and go viral, that takes over your entire social media, no matter what platform you're on.
Your feed.
My bad, guy. I got you real quick. Gabby got to cop the pink pants again, heels, and milk crate. Boom.
You trying to kill me? I always think of that picture of Rihanna. Have you seen the picture of Rihanna where she like beautifully it looks like she's gliding across this basically milk crate surface in stiletto heels and like with the big holes. I'm like, I am the opposite of everything that is happening in that photo.
But I think I think you're onto something, Hen. That's what we gotta do. Yo, we get you back in the pink. We get the stilettos. That's how we gonna go viral. But no, right? But that's what it is, right? To your point, Hen. Everyone chasing virality and clout versus, man. But do you actually like this stuff, or are you just trying to like get on whatever, get your 2-3 seconds of fame and try to blow up?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. There's been some releases that I've been waiting on for years, and to see younger people calling them bricks is like, you just kind of want to, you want to swing on them because it's just like, man, it's not about what you can flip it for. It's just a dope shoe. I have an appreciation for it. I hate that we value sneakers with like what the resale value is, as opposed to what you could do with it, how you rock it, or how much you actually like it. Because there'll be a lot of people too that will talk themselves into a purchase. So let's say like when I was managing the boutique, right? Like people will call in and be like, are these limited? It's like, do you like them or do you not, bro? Like, I mean, because would you say you broke out a little bit?
It's like, what does it matter if it's limited or not? Do you like it or not? Yeah.
You gotta like hold back your snarky responses because that's like, sarcasm is my first language, so that's bad. But I just wish people just would wear stuff that they were actually into and not really listen. Everybody falls for the hype. Like if the shoes got a great story and it's limited, because I get it. You want to have stuff that people don't really have too. But that shouldn't be the first thing that decides whether or not you purchase something. That's my point.
I like that. No, we appreciate that here, man. Like it's the thing that we're always trying to talk to people about is the authenticity, right? Like just be yourself. And, for some people, and it takes a while to sort of understand who that is, right? Who is my authentic self, right? And also be comfortable with your authentic self, right? And I think that's the thing. I mean, conformity in many ways is so much easier, right? Because with conformity, you don't stand out, right? It's like, oh, I'm like everybody else. See, we all good, no problems. And it's fine,
It's totally fine. And I think like for me, I mean, Jay, I get caught up in the hype sometimes, but I almost get mad at myself when I like a hype launch because I'm like, I'm going to go through this emotional roller coaster. I'm not going to get my hands on it. And I just like it because I like it, whether it's a good story, a good colorway, or a good style. I mean, for me, it's looking at how culture is now. The releases that should have gone under the radar, like Jay knows I talk about this all the time, the 1985 dunks and that acid wash with the yellow and the like that kind of cow print acid wash texture. I've been watching that since it drops, and finally, like the resale is basically the retail because people are realizing like, you like what you like, and that's what it is. It's not just about the hype, and I hope that continues to be trending, right? Where maybe people, and maybe not, will start to see like there's a difference between hype pairs and not, and just kind of like let the culture be to a degree. Focus your efforts on the hype shit. Go for all the Travis Scotts that you want. Go ahead, but let the rest of us have some of the other stuff. I miss those days.
Yeah, for sure. Just walking in there and not being an actual release calendar, and it's not like people's every decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Our buddy Waz is on the show, says this, and I love to use it all the time. He's like, if you can't walk into a sneaker store and it's not release day and find anything, then you're not really into this, right? Like, it's because all you care about is what launches, right? If you really like sneakers, you can walk in anywhere and be like, those are dope. Let me get those, right? Because they're not a limited or whatever. You can find something that you like. And that's the big thing, right? What do you like, not what you think you should like.
For sure, there's definitely some truth in that. I'm sure when we dive into the next section, I'm going to lose people with my personal choices. You know what I'm saying?
Guess what? Then you never really had them, and you don't want them no how. So it's all good. But see, look at that beautiful segue, folks. Stay tuned because coming up next, America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. I got a feeling that Henrock's going to show us some pairs that y'all didn't think were coming. So stay tuned. What's good, y'all? We are back, and you know what time it is. America's favorite segment, Shoe and Tell, presented by Another Lane, the premier digital marketplace for dope kicks. Now, we had co-founder Chad Jones, a.k.a. Sneaker Galactus, the sneaker god himself, on last week. He told you everything there is to know about Another Lane. So why aren't you people on there? Get on there, sign up, get yourself an account, make some sales, find some of those pairs you can't find, get some of that PhD knowledge from the god himself. Do what you gotta do. All right, Henrock, this is your show, my friend, so you take it away. Show us what you got.
All right, this is where the viewers exit properly. I'm just kidding. I told y'all Allen Iverson was my favorite player growing up. There's definitely a toss-up between these, the questions. Well, this is the answer one, but these, the questions, and the answer for us, the step over Jones especially. But these don't get talked enough about. And I'm very excited because Reebok is bringing these back this year.
Okay.
I have these also in the black and the gold colorway. I had these originally in 6th grade, maybe 7th. I forget. It's getting, when you get certain age, things get, But no, in all seriousness, this is just one of my favorite shoes. One of the most comfortable shoes with the DMX technology in it too. But yeah, this is to me one of the most slept on sneakers. I think the Iverson line had some gems in it, maybe not from beginning to end. I can see why people wouldn't be, into it, but they had some hits. These are one of them.
I like it.
A clean shoe.
Yes. And also to me too, like I feel like it was ahead of its time because if I told you it was a designer shoe, people would have, if I said this was Balenciaga, people probably would have
Or Louis.
Right? Like it has the chunky, silhouette, whatever. This is just one of my favorite sneakers, and I'm happy Reebok is bringing these back, and I'm sure you'll have people from Reebok watching this, so please, send your book.
I love it.
Hey, we are all about getting seated on here, so
if you don't ask, you don't know. So
shoot or shoot, let me tell you.
Exactly. AI shot a lot too. Okay, so we did that. Let's get into something near and dear to my heart. These are from 2001. I've had these since I'm 16 years old. You already know what these are, the Jordan Royal Ones. Been through hell and back. Again, these are 20 years old. I'm not a mathematician. 21 years old, actually. Had these since, I'm giving my age out, damn. Cut that out. Yeah, these are one of my favorites. If this is the one that got me into the game. I've had Jordans in the past. Well, I've had only one Jordan in the past. My parents definitely not on buying Michael Jordan sneakers back in the day. They just that price point, so I had to not settle, but I had Iversons and stuff like that. So, but these right here, my parents would give me $20 a week for lunch, and kids probably spend that in one day for lunch now. But $20 a week. After a while, I was like, you know what? Let me pack my own lunch. They're still gonna give it to me anyway. Had the game plan, did the math. The maths were mathing. Mathing, and so begged my mom to take me to the mall. This was the first one I bought with my own money right here. Jordan 1.
I like
Royal.
it.
Oh man.
That colorway too. I love that colorway.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna go with a classic, another classic too. I mean, we already know what these are.
I mean,
Is that the shoe that I met you in?
It might be. It might be.
Look at this, man. The
nostalgia.
nostalgia. It's beautiful. People go crazy for this. I do too, only for the fact because it resembles the shoe, the original shoe, right? But I have 2 other pairs with the Jumpmans on these that doesn't deter. I'm not one of those people, it doesn't have the OG. Nah. The shoe is still the shoe. It's fire. This is the only difference. I was able to get this finally, but one of my favorites, and also just one of those sneakers you can wear with just about anything. This is something that you just put on your feet. no matter what color you're wearing. It just works with everything. So this is one of my favorites, Blacksmith threes.
Love the threes. One of my favorite silhouettes.
Absolutely. These ones are special to me. Again, my parents weren't big on spending $100+ on sneakers. This was, I think this came out like my sophomore year in high school, definitely. My boy had these for track. My boy Ralph. Shout out to Ralph.
Shout out, Ralph.
But yeah, plus, yeah, in the sunset orange. This is, there's some shoes that I don't touch during different times of the year, obviously, living in New York or whatever. This is one of the year-round sneakers for me. Fall color, bright. You can wear it summertime too. So do a lot of with these. These, super comfortable too. Super slept on. So
Gabby, did you see what my man Hen just said? Living in New York, certain time of year, there's shoes that don't come out. So he feels me on that.
I agree with that, Gerard, but I don't know if you noticed right after he said that, he held up a sneaker that he wears all year round. That's the part of the story that I feel like you are not listening to, my friend.
This is one of the few exceptions, so you know what I'm saying, you're outnumbered here. This is
Sorry, Jay.
It's fine. Listen. I just don't like getting my stuff messy, It's not,
Yeah. Crep joint, my friends. Oh, crep protect.
Crep, man. Shout out to Crep. They sent me this package right here. I don't mind. This thing doesn't fall on me. Cool. Did not. But yeah, shout out to Crep.
Shout out to Crep.
Oh, goodies, whatever. Glad y'all mentioned that. Cool. Okay. Let's go with these. This is one of the shoes that I want to swing on these new kids for, because they call this a brick, right? First they took our skinny jeans away. And now they're calling these bricks. Like, what's going on here? These
jeans forever.
Haven't seen these in like 15 years, just about. My buddy Omar, shout out to cousin O, threw me a live retail oop on these right here.
Like that.
Like everybody else, I've had my frustrations with the sneakers app. Taken many L's on sneakers app. Obviously took one on these. I thought it was over with. Even though there were bricks, they were still being resold at an astronomical price. Maybe not to the price of resellers' liking, but they call it a brick, and I really don't understand why. But these right here,
great shoe.
You already know.
That's
great
like a don't call it comeback. I've been here for years. Like I love the fours. Those are my favorite J's. It's just the detail. I agree. Those were slept on.
Fours are great, man.
Fours. What do you call it? There's a dude in Cincinnati, Matt from corporate. He says fours are the best. So if he's watches this, he'll
I like it, Matt.
Fours are the best. Okay. This is where we get into the hype situation, right?
Gotta do it.
I would love to see what you're looking at right now too, just because I can see you debating what's going to be next, but I'm like,
right.
Cannot wait.
I just wanted to see what I was going to close out with. But these right here, I mean, no matter.
Like, big drop.
We could have. Can y'all go back and edit and do the? Yeah, these right here. I mean, listen, despite recent behaviors and whatnot, this shoe means a lot to me still, and the importance of the shoes understated. I mean, obviously it was a toss up between these and the original. I have tans and the Zen gray somewhere around here, but these were easier to access, so I went with these right here. These just the detailing, you know what I'm saying, is amazing. I wish I could shut the lights out and let it glow, but it's, don't break them out often. But when I do, definitely got to get a good fit with it. I gotta break these out soon.
Once that snow goes away in New York.
I like that.
The kicks and shit meet up.
Mm-hmm.
I might bring these out.
Keep in the streets.
Yes.
So I mean, that was one of the crazier times, right? So when fuck that. I'm calling him Kanye because I don't do that dumb shit. When Kanye collaborated with Nike, right, and started dropping those shoes, like, I mean, that was it was the time. And then for him to leave and go right to Adidas, everybody was like, "What? What's happening?" And then the Yeezys, right? And Adidas, you're like, "Yo!" I mean, again, one of the things I can do, and I encourage everybody to do it, no matter who your favorite artist is or whatever, try to separate art from the artist, right?
It's tough, but
it's hard. It's hard, but honestly, and this is for everybody, whether it's music, painting, whatever. Don't do too much digging into your favorite artist, right? Because you don't gotta go far to find something you ain't gonna like. All right, that's just the nature. Because human beings are complicated, and all the things that go along with it, right? But I remember when he was doing that with Nike, I was like, this guy, what the hell? And then to drop the Yeezys, and then of course when the Red Octobers came out, it was like pandemonium. I was like, oh my god, this is like crazy times out here.
Special time. I remember the Kobe. I forget which model it was. One of the Kobe sneaker commercials, Kanye played a villain role in it, and he was like on a helicopter. He was wearing these, and we were like taking screenshots, trying to figure out, is this the Yeezy 2? What's it gonna look like? And I agree. Sometimes you got to try to separate the man or the woman or the artist from the art. But just his music. Inspired the hell out of me growing up, so can never forget that, so never will.
Musical genius. Genius.
Well, I think genius all around.
Creative genius.
Creative genius, yes. Let's put it that way. Creative genius for sure. And again, the importance of the shoe right here, right? Like, if this doesn't do what it does for the culture, we probably don't see Don C's get opportunities. We don't see, of course, Virgil. Rest in peace, Virgil. Get opportunities with Nike and Louis Vuitton as well. So these are just very important, especially for Black creatives, designers, whatever. Can't say enough about this.
That was it. Yeah, man.
And with that, I guess another perfect segue.
I was like, what followed that up?
Oh.
I was like, how do you follow that up? And there you go.
Yeah. I mean,
I see you. I see you with your.
I mentioned all the L's I took on Sneakers app.
But you took a W at some point. You got a W somewhere.
I only took 5 W's on Sneakers app in 2021.
In 2021 alone, he took 5.
I'd say that's 5 more than me. Not really? For real. I took 0 W's on sneakers in 2021. I could not beg them to take my money.
How many attempts?
I mean, I'm pretty regular.
Every week.
I'm a frequent flyer. Yeah, I even thought I was going to get those Golden Gals dunks, the women's dunks. Nah.
Wow.
Nope. No early access, nothing. I don't know what I did to piss off Nike, but love y'all.
Hopefully they see this, they show you some love like they showed that young lady who tweeted at them.
About the Squid Games? Yeah.
That was wild.
True, though.
It's wild to watch happen, because it's just like, dude, what about us? Like, I'm from the era where we actually used to have to line up.
Camp out?
Yeah.
And, even some lineup. Oh, I forgot to tell that story. Not this version. The 2011 version was almost a fight at a mall.
Yeah, almost a fight at a mall.
I don't. You know what? Let me not even tell that story. Let's go back to this. Right? This is I mean, the man's impact on fashion, sneakers, breaking glass ceilings, incorporating hip hop, skate culture, pop culture into fashion statements. I mean, his importance is very understated, or I mean, maybe people are appreciating it now, but wish people would give flowers to people while they're still here.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we could talk all day about the shoe. It's just a simple flip, like pretty much solid yellow lemonade, whatever, with the the foil type check. Like the absolute art.
The classic signatures, right? The zip tie, right? The air. I mean, all the off-white branding, right? Just and on that silhouette too, right? Like, so it works. I mean, he's done that to so many classic silhouettes. Of course, the ones, right? Like, I mean, it's just like it's phenomenal, and it to your point, it really is. It's done so much, and that you followed off the Kanye thing, right? Like another black creative who has an opportunity to show you, hey man, we can get into this fashion game too. Oh, and I'd be remiss, not sneakers, if we did not mention the recent passing of Andre Leon Talley, former editor at large at Vogue magazine. If you guys aren't familiar with him, just do a little Google search, read his memoir that came out, I want to say last year or the year before. Just a really, again, one of the early pioneers in fashion, in an industry that's still mostly and predominantly white. A large black man from the rural South was able to find his way into the upper echelon. So,
he was born into the segregation era, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
So with him, people were, speculating what's Vogue gonna do to honor him and all of that. Yes, I expect, at least one article dedicated purely, or one
at least, jeez,
issue. No, my bad. Issue dedicated to him front and back. Glossy pages, the whole nine. Like, it's got to be like book quality, but also if Vogue really wants to honor his legacy, make sure you're hiring more black creatives and having them at the table making these, making decisions. Again, Vogue is still, essential, but still mostly white.
Yeah, no doubt.
Just that, not just for the sake of hiring black people, but for you to have black people to have black culture infused and talked about and written about and showcased, because for some reason we do this thing where it's like black culture, but no, it's like American culture. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
So, that would be a great honor to him if they really want to honor his legacy. But back to Virgil real quick. I mean, he broke so many glass ceilings and reached back and, try to pull younger black creatives. I think he mentioned something about like, I took this job, so when I leave, it's like 6 more, people who look like me are, will take my job, so. Again, just the sneaker on the surface level, of course, beautiful story. The alterations. I think he said something about like 3%. He just wants to alter it 3%. You know what I'm saying? And execution is perfect, and the story behind that, and his story. So that's how we close out the show.
Love it, man. That is a hell of a shoe to close it out with, man. Like, hey man, this was great, by the way, Henrock. We loved chatting with you, chopping it up. Of course, love the shoe and tell portion. You showed some good stuff. I don't think there was anything in there that would have anybody be like, I'm not rocking with that dude. I don't know what you're talking about. all those shoes.
Something for everybody in here, right?
something for everybody. And folks, Henrock, tell the people where they can find you.
Oh yeah, so Instagram is going to be @_Henrock, HENROCK. Twitter is just going to be _Henrock.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it. And of course, folks, you know where you can find us. We are part of that Count the Dinks family on the Bomb podcast feed with, of course, the original Bomb show, Woke Bros, Grown Up the Same, Rap Names, and us. And of course, we are @Kicks and Shit Show on all social media platforms. Until next time, peace.